Hey, what's up guys, we're here with another tutorial on how to do a ball fade, all clipper over comb. We're only going to be using two guards, the 5/0 blade and the one metal guard. We're gonna start off with combing our hair, making sure we lay everything down as natural as possible. This helps with the haircut, with the fade. When we're done, the haircut's gonna last longer. So again, you want to make sure you go all around the head. Make sure you lay down those hairs, catch all those knots. You want to use a wider teeth to get the longer hair. So we're gonna take our 5/0 blade and we're gonna make our first guideline. It's gonna start right above the temple area, and we're gonna bring it over the ear. Just above the ear, you want to make sure you grab those hairs right on the ear. People are always looking at those. And then we're gonna take our guideline and we're gonna drop it just a little bit as we get to the back. You wanna make sure you get all those hairs. Again, keep in mind, this blade will not take you all the way to skin. So again, like I said, we're gonna drop the guideline all the way in the back. We're gonna drop it just a bit. The reason why is because, say if you look at the haircut from a distance, you want the fade to still be smooth. You don't want the haircut to look like a bold cut. You know, you don't want just to see hair and then see no hair. So you want the smooth transition between those skin and long hair. So now we're gonna start our guideline on the other side. Keep in mind, we want to keep the symmetry. So we're gonna start right in the same point, same guideline. We're gonna lay down just above the temple area. We're gonna bring it over the ear. Make sure you grab all those hairs. Keep in mind, grab all those hairs right above the ear. And we're gonna drop our guideline as soon as we get to the back. Keep in mind, you want to have a light touch. You don't want to put too much pressure on the scalp. Keep in mind that we have a small work area, so our technique, we have to kind of exaggerate that technique. As soon as you touch the scalp, as soon as you want to make the guideline, you start pulling out from the scalp. So again, like I said, this blade will not take it to skin, so I'm gonna take my tear outliners and I'm gonna bring it to skin, take it all the way down. Make sure you bring out a little brush to grab all those hairs and keep your work area clean. Again, you want to make sure you grab those hairs right above the ear. And also make sure you do not touch that guideline. You just want to cut right under that guideline. You don't want to touch it. Again, keep gentle touch. You don't want to put too much pressure on the scalp. You don't want to irritate the scalp. Alright, so our next step, we're going to take our one metal guard. We're going to start our second guideline. We're going to go up about a finger width. And we want to make sure we keep that symmetry of the guideline all the way around. This helps with the symmetry of the fade. If you keep your space and your guidelines as even as possible and as symmetrical as possible, it's going to make your fade look even smoother. It's going to give more quality to the haircut. So you want to keep in mind, keep that space in between your guidelines as even and symmetrical all the way around the head. And again, pay attention. You know, I use my clipper a couple times and I take out my comb and I lay down the hair again. You want to keep the hair laid down as natural as possible so we can keep the cut as natural as possible. This helps with durability. So again, I'm using my smaller teeth with my comb so I can lay down this hair. And I'm only going up about a finger width. Again, keep that symmetry of that guideline. You want to follow the angle that it dropped all the way around. If you don't do this, your fade is gonna be awkward. Like, it's gonna drop down, go up in certain areas, it's gonna throw it off. And then again, you wanna start off with the blade all the way pressed down in the scalp, and as you're working upward, as you making that second guideline, you want to pull out from the scalp. You want to keep in mind you don't have that much workspace. You don't have that much area for your fade. So we want to exaggerate that fading technique. People like to call this their touch, your touch. Then again, make sure you comb the hair, make sure it lays down as natural as possible, and make sure you go against the grain. Next, we're gonna take our wall seniors, our clippers, and we're gonna have them halfway closed and closed. We're gonna mess with the lever. But before that, we wanna make sure again that hair is laid down as natural as possible. We're using our brush because the brush helps for two things. It helps to lay down the hair and to get rid of the hair that you already cut, that's small, that the comb can't grab. So this is why we're using the brush in this step right here. Again, you want to have a light touch. Keep in mind you're using that fading technique. As soon as you get to the halfway point between those guidelines, you want to start pulling out. This helps with the fade. This is a fading technique. This is what makes the fade stand out. This is the blending part. Again, you want to go against the grain. Make sure you go against the grain. You might see some hairs laying to the side. You want to go against the grain. So you want to go. You might have to go sideways. You might have to go up, downward. It depends. So again, mess with the lever. Usually it's only halfway or closed, but if you see a darker spot a little higher than usual, you open the blade all the way and you touch up that spot. But if you make sure that your steps are right, if you make sure everything's right, the steps will take care of themselves. So if you make sure that you fade this guideline right here, if you erase it as best as possible, you won't have to come back and touch this up. You'll be more efficient on time. You could probably take on another client, or you probably don't have to cut another client because you're efficient. You want to start getting used to the fact that you have to be efficient with this. So as you can see, the fading is the fade is starting to stand out. Our next step will be just taking care of that next guideline up there. But until then, we're stuck here, making sure everything's cut, everything's smooth, making sure we're doing our job right. This is what we do. So again, make sure you have a light touch. Again, use your fading technique. Let the clipper do the work. Do not rush. Especially with the haircut like this, with clipper over comb, you do not want to rush because you'll mess up. This is a haircut especially that you do not want to rush. Take your time. You can tell you how many times I have to use a comb with textured hair. Again, you want the hair to lay down as much as possible. This is setting up for our clipper over comb. We're going to be using the same comb. And as you can see, sometimes I'm gonna use my comb as a guard, and I'm gonna be moving up with my clipper and my comb up in the scalp, erasing that guideline. This is usually when I have to erase a line. So with the comb, you're more efficient. This is why I use the comb, because it's more efficient. So with the comb, you're able to create a guideline. We're not really making guidelines, we're making more of shades. With the comb, you're able to make a shade, not a line. So again, After I use my comb, I come back and lay down the hair as much as possible. Comb the hair back and lay it down as natural as possible. You want to pay attention. I'm only grabbing a little bit of hair. This gives me room for error, especially if you're starting out. You want to only grab a small portion of hair. That way you have more room for error. And as you can see, our fade is starting to stand out. So again, we're coming up. We're the first thing in my mind that I try to take care of is kind of eliminating that dark, too much dark. So we're gonna take our wide teeth and we're gonna work on the higher part of the fade, eliminate all that dark and make it a little bright, a little lighter. Again, pay attention. I only grab a little bit of hair, and keep in mind my clippers are all the way closed. Now I'm using my smaller part of the teeth to work on the lower part of the fade, the smaller hairs. As you can see, I'm only putting a little bit of hair to cut. As you can see, I'm moving up with my clipper. I'm using my comb as a guard to erase that guideline, and to make the second guideline, or to make that shade, I'm not moving my comb. I'm just cutting the hair. So again, you want to keep in mind that your comb is a guard. That's essentially what guards are. They're just small combs that could attach to your clipper. The same thing, same difference. So right here again, we're making that shadow. We're making this dark spot a little bit lighter, so we can come back down and erase that guideline that's down there. So that's how you want to do this in those steps. You first want to get rid of the bulk. You want to kind of create that shade, and then you want to come that back down with your smaller teeth and erase that guideline. That's how clipper over comb works. This technique helps you save time if you do it right. But again, you never want to rush. You want to be patient. There's only two ways in this. You could either get it wrong or right. Again, we're only getting rid of the too much dark in there. We're lighting that up so we can come back down and erase that guideline. So again, keep in mind, our first priority is to get rid of the dark bulk and create a shade, a lighter shade, so we could come back down and erase that guideline. And again, you want to have a light touch with your clipper. That way you don't push your comb more than you need to, and you don't create any little bald spots or lighter spots, because that will really mess up your fade. So again, pay attention in detail right here, how much hair I'm grabbing and how much hair I'm cutting, and how I'm using my comb, how I'm moving up with my clipper, and I'm using the backbone of the comb as a pivot on the scalp. So as I'm getting higher with my comb, I'm pulling out. You see that? I'm kind of using my comb as a clipper as well. So move up, boom, pull out, move up, pull out. Barely any hair that I cut. Again, get used to the fact that you gotta comb so much, so you gotta be flipping your comb all the time. Be a comb flipper. Again, right here we're only erasing that guideline because that's our only focus. Up right now we're only getting that dark spot lighter. Again, don't rush this. You don't want to rush this step. Take your time, come back and work on the details. Again, have a soft touch. Now I'm gonna come back with my wall clippers open, all the way open, and just touch up that guideline and erase it. Again, I'm going against the grain. As you can see, I have to go sideways. And right now I'm just working on making that darker shade a little bit lighter, just a little bit lighter. Again, you want to be detailed about your work. You want to come back and touch it up, man. You want to come back, work on those details, make your work stand out. That's your job, man. Again, our first priority is to lighten up the bulk, bring the dark shade a little bit lighter so we could come back and erase that guideline. So sometimes you will just need to grab the hair and pass the clipper, or sometimes you will need to move up with the comb and the clipper to cut the hair. Usually when you're on the higher part of the fade, the darker part, that's when you just grab the hair and you just pass the clipper. But if you're trying to fade out the guideline, you usually move up with the clipper and the comb. You will use the comb as a guard to erase that guideline. So again, around the ear is a little bit harder to use the comb, so you want to make sure you lay down the ear as much as possible so you could fit the comb. And again, right here you'll take a little bit longer around the ear just because it's a little more work, just because of the room, the space you have. But again, take your time, do not rush. And to know how much hair you need to cut, again, take it slow. Do not overdo it. That way you have room for error, and you start noticing how much hair you need to cut. You start figuring yourself out. So again, pay attention. Right now I'm just touching up the fade. I'm using my comb as a guard to erase that guideline and touch up those details. And then again, pay attention. I'm still using my comb to lay the hair back down as natural as possible. This is all clipper over comb. This is a pretty advanced technique, but it does saves you a lot of time. You don't have to be flipping back and forth between your guards, and it's just kind of easier as well. But it does take time to develop. So I suggest just practice and just be patient. Again, be patient. Do not rush. And another tip, like I said, take your time. Cut small amounts of hair so you have room for error, so you can see how much. So you can start figuring yourself out. Like I said, figuring out how much hair is desirable to you, that works for you to cut. Again, you can see right here, I only cut about the tips of the hair. You can see how much of the comb, the hairs that the comb grabs. It's only a little bit. So now, I'm just, again, working on detail. You do, with clip over comb, you do have to go back and forth, just because of the freedom that each stroke that you put in, you know what I mean? The size, that's more of an estimate. And sometimes another technique that I like to do, like I did right here, I like to go put my clipper over the comb and go in a downward motion, but I will demonstrate that in another video, that technique that I didn't really use here. So now that we're done with our fade, we're gonna move on to the lineup. Again, with the lineup, we're gonna lay down the hair, make sure everything's laid down as natural as possible, so we could come back and we could take our number 1 plastic guard and cut down that front part of the hair to wavelength. This helps so that the lineup could stand out and the lineup will last a little bit longer for the client. So again, you want to brush or comb the hair. You want to make sure everything's laid down as much as possible. Next, we're going to take our T outliners. we're gonna start in the middle of the lineup. We're gonna start the middle part. I always start there because the middle part always dictates where the right and the left side will go, the points, where they will level out. So I always work my lineup in 3 parts: the middle, the side, and then the other side. They say 3 is a magic number, right? So again, with your clippers, you want to be patient. Do not rush this. Do small touches, small strokes. And this blade is a standard blade. I did not adjust this blade. So as you can see, I can still get my line pretty sharp. One technique that I use for my lineups is I look at my lineup from a side profile. The reason why I look at it from a side profile is because when you look at the lineup from the side, it shows where the imperfections are. Your lineup could be wavy, or your lineup could kind of curve on the edges. Have you ever seen a lineup and the lineup's not really straight? It's more like rounded. It's more like a U, like an upside down U type. That's because the barber will only looked at it from the front. So when he was doing the lineup from the front, his elbow was probably only focused on the middle part. So as he got to the edges, the liners dropped a little bit, as you can see right here. They're probably gonna drop a little bit because my elbow, my hand was only focused on the middle. So the pivot created like an arc. So it kind of, that's why sometimes you see the lineups are kind of curved. And as you can see now, I'm gonna come back and fix it because I'm looking at my lineup from a sideways perspective. As you can see right here, you can see where the lineup needs to be raised a little bit. And it's crazy. It's just a small tad bit that you need to touch. Again, with the clippers, you want to be light, have a light hand, especially if you have sharp ones. You do not want to leave a permanent lineup. Then again, you want to keep in mind that you could use your blade as a ruler to tell you how straight the lineup needs to be, or the angle that the lineup needs to be placed. Alright, next we're gonna take our comb and we're gonna touch up around the lineup, because one thing that the lineup does as well, it makes the imperfections in your face stand out, especially right in the lineup. So you want to come back with your guards or your comb and touch up those details. Now we're gonna take our hairspray and we're gonna apply our hair fibers. Again, you want to use a business card or anything that has a straight edge, and you want to apply just a little bit of hair fibers, not too much. You don't want to overdo it. The hair fibers, for me, they only help out for 2 reasons. They make the imperfections in the lineup stand out. They show you where you need to straighten the lineup a little bit, raise it up a little bit, touch it up a little bit, and they help for styling the hair as well. They just make the haircut look a little bit cooler, sharper, just for that day. So again, you want to come back and touch up your fade, because your lineup will make all those imperfections stand out. So you want to come back and touch that up, man. Be detailed about your work. And the same with the lineup. Like I said, the hair fibers make all those imperfections in your lineup stand out, because what the hair fibers do is they fill in the gaps. So when you fill in the gaps, it shows you if everything's straight, if everything matches. So again, keep in mind, I did not adjust these blades. These are standard blades. So you don't need sharp blades. You just need to learn how to cut the hair. There's not much science into this. The hair, it's easy to just cut hair. Again, you don't want to apply too much pressure. You don't have to apply too much pressure. Hair is not like a wire. Hair is easy to cut. Again, just let the machine do the work. That's what they're made for. You do not want to rush the process. And now we're pretty much done with our haircut. You see I'm cheesing right here. That's how you know, man. When you're doing your work right. Love this book. He can't stop looking at the mirror, man. So now I'm gonna kind of just demonstrate you guys how I do the eyebrows a little bit. This fool's cheesing. You look at her. So you want happy lines, man. So again, just for an extra little clip right here. The eyebrows, you want to keep them as natural as possible. And you want to just create that arc. Again, do not push this back. Yo, good thing, man. I got an invitation for Fortnite, so I'm gonna leave in a bit. We finished right on time. So again, on the other side, keep it natural. Do not push the brow. Do not push the eyebrow. Keep it natural, bro. No one wants to look like they got cancer, bro. Yo, don't lie like in middle school. Me and my brother, we kind of did that. In elementary school, my bad. Kind of like shaved off our eyebrows and we thought it would look kind of normal, but yeah, everybody kind of found out. We thought it was unnoticeable. It was funny. But again, you want to use your razor. Do not, pretty simple. Again, you want to use the Elegance gel. You want to apply it right underneath the lineup. Like I said, you want to take the razor. Well, first of all, apply it good. Took a while applying the hair gel. The shaving gel. But again, with the razor, I always go in a downward motion. And when I'm done with my downward motion, I'm going to come back and go against the grain to sharpen up the lineup just a bit more. So right now I'm just focusing on getting all those hairs, all that hairspray off, all those hair fibers off. So I could come back up and just go against the grain. Again, you just want to tap the lineup. You don't want to push it back. Just focus on tapping the lineup. In this technique, you kind of want to place your hand on the head. And again, you want to tap the lineup. You don't want to push it back. You just kind of want to slide up until the hairline itself comes to a stop. You don't want to apply too much pressure, just enough to where the blade can slide on the shaving gel, and the lineup will tell you where to stop. And then this is how you do a ball fade all clipper over comb. You see the nice blend? It's pretty nice blendy. Look at this other side, it's pretty symmetrical. You see, you got him cheesing hard. Look, he can't even keep a straight face, bro. But yeah, that's how you do the ball fade all clipper over comb. Textured hair, curly top. So let us know what you think.